Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my Fear the Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 15. This is going to be the season finale, which is the last episode of a season. That's why it's called the season finale. And this episode is called North. Um, and there's a weird thing about this episode, and as well as the last episode, is episode 14 in the season finale came both the same day, which I thought was very interesting. I'm assuming TV shows have done it before. It's just the first time I've seen it happen. So it must have been kind of it was pretty much essentially like binge watching it the same day. I thought that was kind of cool. But um, last episode, so this episode came out on October 2nd, 2016. I originally was going to say that it came out on October 3rd, but Wikipedia has it messed up because if you go on, if you ever have gone on Wikipedia and gone just to look up a singular TV show, it has like a graph and like who made guest appearances and stuff, and who wrote the episode and directed it and all that stuff. And it says October 2nd, where it says original air date, but then it says when you go to read like the little the little info on it next to the episode North, it says that it came out October 3rd. But then I had to look it up, and it actually did come out October 2nd. But if anyone tried to review this episode now, I can kind of see why people would get confused, because I was kind of confused. Um, but yeah, I'm just going to talk about this episode, and if you've ever seen when I've reviewed a TV show, the season finale, what I'm going to do is I'm going to review the episode itself, give my thoughts on that singular episode, and then talk about what I thought overall of Season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead. So, let's talk about it. This episode had two storylines, and essentially they kind of came together at the end of the episode, but um, it was essentially two storylines. I'm just going to kind of cherry pick and talk about one storyline, and then if it's going to lead to somewhere else, we'll talk about the next one. So let's talk about Fear the Walking Dead. So in the community, I'm going to start off by talking about everything at the Colonial first. Luciana is talking to Alejandro, and we could see that Alejandro is starting to die, and Luciana wants him to give one more speech to spread his BS towards the people, to give them that faith that they're going to survive the attack from the bandits. And he agrees to do so. And I did like this, and he's still trying to convince Luciana to leave, but she still wants to stay here because it's her home. So he goes and gives the speech and talks about how the bandits are going to come take them down, but we've survived this long because of our faith, and we've proven that we to God that we can take this world and take control of it. And as this has happened, Nick leaves the community. Nick tries one final time to try to get Luciana to leave, and I did kind of like that dynamic that Nick and Luciana have. Luciana doesn't want to leave, and she talks about how Nick, when things get too hard for him, or when he has to start fighting for something, he just runs away, which is kind of true because you've kind of seen that through Nick, through the whole show, really, that Nick always leaves. When he always leaves a group of people, or just leaves in general when things start to get too hard for him. So I kind of liked that shot right there. But yeah, as this speech is happening, though, but he's unable to convince Luciana to leave. As this scene is happening, Nick oversees a helicopter across the border, pretty much, through his binoculars. So he goes and convinces Alejandro to tell the people to leave because it's not the community that Luciano and everybody else wants to stay for, it's the people. But if you tell everybody to leave, they'll leave. And tell them about this. He tells them about this place that he sees that it's north of Mexico, which is why this episode is called North. So I guess we didn't actually see this scene happen. He was able to convince everybody to leave, and pretty much Alejandro was on the verge of dying when he saw Nick. And then the bandits come into the community, and they try to find everybody. They break their way through the infected, and when they don't see that anybody's there, they're celebrating. They shoot their guns up in the air. But everybody's there except Alejandro. Alejandro is drives the bus that you use to get out of the community forward, and the infected attack are able to get through, and they go to attack the bandits. I did like this scene a lot, especially too because the bandits they didn't use up all their ammo, but they used up most of their ammo that they probably could have used to take these guys out, or didn't have enough to begin with. But this just really screwed them over. So I like this a lot. And I'm just kind of, there is more to this, but I'm going to go to the hotel storyline because that kind of starts to become part of this storyline, and this is kind of like a good stopping point. I'm going to come back to this later. So essentially what happens is, this is after everything where Travis beat the crap out of Brandon and the other guy. And this is how the episode started off, actually. So I forgot to mention that Oscar, when he was able to unlock the door, and he opened the door in the last episode, Travis ended up slamming his head into the door, and he ended up getting knocked out. So what ended up happening is Madison, he was severely injured in this episode, and eventually Hector breaks in using a fire extinguisher, and Travis is just no, just kind of looking into the distance because he's kind of gone crazy, and they pretty much hold Travis in on watch. And Madison tries to talk some sense into him, but they're just not having it. And Madison puts down Brandon and the other guy before they turn into the infected. And pretty much they realize that Travis is going to be kicked out, and Madison realizes if she lets Travis stay, she's just going to be a hypocrite and wouldn't really be a good leader. So Alicia and Madison decide to leave, and they want Stan to go with him, but Strand says he wouldn't risk his life for his partner. He's not going to risk his life for them. So they decide to leave. They make a deal they're going to leave the next morning. But later on, all the hotel survivors are working on Oscar. They're trying to save him. And eventually he ends up passing away when they try to save him. So all the hotel survivors get mad, and they go to attack Travis, Madison, and Alicia. Or at least Travis. They're going to shoot him. But Madison tries to talk some sense into him. Tries to get them to stop if they leave tonight, but they just won't stop. But Alicia ends up killing one of the hotel survivors, and Strand comes in with his gun and tells everybody to leave, and everybody runs away. But Strand ends up staying behind the community when they go to leave. So I did kind of like this scene a lot. I don't know if this is going to be the end of Strand or not, but we'll have to wait and see. This reminded me of, the mid-season finale when Nick wouldn't go with Madison. This was kind of the same scene, so I liked this scene a lot. So they go to the bandits community, but they're not there because they were attacking the Colonial at this time. So they try to see where they are, and they try to find the other community, the Colonial community they were talking about, and they find it because they go through Francisco's family's pockets and find the address to it in one of their wallets, and they go to the community and just see that it's abandoned and everybody's turned into the infected, and we find out that the bandits have all been turned into the infected. So they end up meeting up with Alejandro, and they end up putting him down. I thought it was a very good scene. But they ask where Nick is and where everybody else in the community is, and then he's able to mutter the words north. So that possibly means we'll probably in the next season, Nick and Madison and stuff will finally come together again. As all this was happening, though, Nick, Luciana, and everybody else from the Colonial are about to make their way north, and it looks like it's going to be like this big happy ending for them, but they get attacked by another group, armed group, and Luciano ends up getting shot, and everybody runs away, but Nick and tends to Luciana, and the season ends with the two of the armed forces holding Nick and Luciana down and acting like they're going to shoot them, but we don't really know what happens. And as this was happening, I did kind of like how it went from back and forth, where it showed Madison and stuff putting down Alejandro, so I liked that. And that essentially was the end of this episode. I thought this episode was great. I thought it was a great way to finish off the season. I actually thought it was fantastic. There was really nothing wrong with it. I liked seeing the change in Travis. Alicia really kind of took a step into changing because this was the first time she killed somebody um, in this show. I obviously was intrigued by the Nick storyline, and I just thought it was a fantastic way to end off the season. So I'm going to give this episode a. I don't think it was the best episode of the series. I'm going to give it an A minus. But it's still was fantastic. I liked the character development, the story, everything, and it intrigues you enough to want to see what's going to happen in season 3, and it doesn't. But it doesn't like intrigue you to the point where you have to wait a while and you get mad about it. I thought it had a good cliffhanger, so I like that. And then as for what other people, pretty much the critics and fan reviews from IMDb all agree. They pretty much liked this episode. They liked the episode that happened with Travis. They liked both episodes too, season 14 and 15. They pretty much said it for the same reasons I did. It got like an 8.5 and a 79% approval rating. And as for how people thought about it online, they thought, on IMDb, they thought it was mainly 6s, and someone gave it a 10. I don't think it's a 10 episode, but if I had to rate it, I'd give it like a 9 if we're going by number ratings. But I go by letter grades on here, so that doesn't happen. As for this season alone, though, I do got to admit it was a little bit of a mixed bag. I thought the very beginning of the season was very slow, and then really the whole season was a little bit slow. But it also had it would have like an episode that was great, but then it would have an episode that really wasn't so great. Had a lot of skippable episodes, but there was things I liked about it. I liked the character changes in Travis and Chris. I thought they did a great job in this series. I especially loved the way they killed off Chris, and how it was a way that it kind of changed Travis's character a little bit. But yeah, I liked the way that Chris. It was the best storyline. How it didn't take over the entire season because it was 15 episodes and he was dead within 14 of them, and he wasn't in a few of them. But from the start, you could kind of see Chris slowly start to become unhinged. He started in the beginning, and then slowly towards the end, at least until episode 14, he just slowly became unhinged. I like that the groups were separated a little bit, and everybody else got to kind of tell their own story. At least when the difference is when they did it, when The Walking Dead did it. The Walking Dead, it just kind of felt like they were trying to keep to just kind of stall for time. In this case, them getting separated actually gave us a little bit more character development, like I said, with Alicia, but not just Alicia, but Chris, Travis, Strand, and Madison, even the people in the Colonial, and even what's her name, Ophelia. I even like the way that I mean, it was a little bit of a mixed bag, but I kind of liked the way Daniel was killed off. That wasn't too bad. I liked. I just thought it was a mixed bag season. It had some, like um the Connor episode where they invaded the boat, only getting blown off within an episode. That was pretty stupid. Um, and I thought the season premiere was fairly disappointing. I thought it should have been something more. And the season for both the actual season and the mid-season premiere, that was a little bit disappointing as well. And it just had like some skippable episodes, and it just kind of I didn't really feel like that this show didn't have that one moment that really made it a great show. It just kind of felt like it was kind of a mixed bag season. So if I had to rate this season, I don't remember what I gave it in my when I did this for the mid-season finale. I think I gave it a C. I'm gonna probably give it a little bit of a higher grade and give it a C plus because I thought it was a mixed bag season. You had some really good episodes. You had. I shouldn't say that. None of the episodes were really like bad. The episodes that were really good really delivered, but the episodes some of the episodes felt like they could have been more, and this season just kind of felt like it could have been more. I think after that explosive start the first season had, the second season I thought was a mixed bag. So that's what I thought. But would I recommend this season? You probably have to watch this season to watch the rest of it. Yeah, but um, essentially that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching this episode or this review. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video, you guys will get the notifications for it. Make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers YouTube channel. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.